Hello everybody, I am KMO and this is my first video for the year 2017. And unlike 2016, I intend to put these out a lot more regularly and consistently, which is to say at least one per week. Thus, this new format. Cheap, small camera, which I'm using at home, lights from home, audio recorder, also new because the old one died and I've stepped down to a Zoom H1, just for reasons of affordability. But the motto is use the tools available to get work done right now rather than dreaming about what I would do if I had more high-end gear. So what I'm going to do in this first video is just tell you about my New Year's resolutions. Now I'm not really unhappy with how I've performed in the past. I'm not kicking myself for wasted opportunities, anything like that. I've been doing weekly radio shows. I've been making videos at the local community access TV station. I've kept up my weekly podcasts and also the monthly podcast. So it's not like I think I've been, totally slacking, but at the same time, I realize that I could be doing a whole lot more than I have been. And to that end, my New Year's resolutions. One, I've already told you about it. I'm going to do one new video per week, at least, which means if I have to just shoot something on this cheap little camera that I got for $70 off Amazon.com, that's what I'll do. Resolution number two. Again, for somebody like me who makes what living I do from my creative efforts, it doesn't take a whole lot of creative genius to think, you know what, I should write more. So what I've done is I've set myself the goal of writing a 500-word essay every day, which I will then post to my LiveJournal. 500 words? What is that? That's nothing. Daily, I post comments on Facebook, which are longer than 500 words. So what's that? Well, Facebook is a huge waste of my time. It puts me in touch with some really great people. But at the end of the day, all those things that I post to Facebook, they just go off into the ether. They're not archived in a way that's easy for me to find. That stuff that I do on Facebook is for Facebook. It's not for me. So I'm going to write stuff for me to use in my projects. And I'm posting it to LiveJournal because I just love LiveJournal and I want to use it more. So why 500 words? That's not much. Here's the thing. With a resolution like this, if I'm going to establish a habit, there's a balance that has to be struck between achievability and challenge. If something is too challenging, then you just don't do it. If I said, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm going to run 10 miles a day. Well, I've never run 10 miles in my life, and I probably never will, not in one stretch anyway. So that would be a ridiculous goal to set. But I have been working out in the gym for the better part of a year, and I know that's something I can keep doing, so, I'm going to keep doing it. I don't have to make a resolution around it because that's an established habit, but it's a realistic thing that I can aspire to. Now, if something is too hard, you won't do it. But if it's too easy, if it's trivial, if it takes no commitment whatsoever to do it, then you get bored with it. And it becomes frustrating for that reason, and you'll probably quit just because it doesn't seem like you're achieving anything. Well, 500 words for me is a challenge. It's not a challenge to write that many words. That's trivial. What's a challenge is to say something, to introduce a topic, to say something on it which is of interest to me and hopefully will be of interest to somebody else, and then wrap it up with some sort of conclusion in that 500-word space. That, for me, is a challenge. So I don't achieve it every day. I have written the 500 words, posted them to my LiveJournal. I'm KMO on LiveJournal, by the way. Info is over there. I have written the 500 words every day. In fact, it's been a little bit more than that. It's been 600 and something each day, except for yesterday when I wrote 500 words exactly. And to do that, I wrote 600 and something words and then went through it and chopped away everything that wasn't absolutely necessary. That's how I make things shorter. Why do I want to make things shorter? Because when I go to write a blog, I've kept a blog for years, not regularly, and again, here's why. When I sit down to write something, if I just do it at my own pace and my own rhythm and my own way, I'm going to write something on the order of 1,800 words. That's a blog post to me. It takes many hours to write it and edit it. And then I put it up online and I'll read it again the next day and I'll see all kinds of things that I missed that I have to go back and change again. 500 words is doable. One, I think more people will read something of 500 words than they will 1,800 words. And 2, I'm looking to do shorter YouTube videos. I still want to do scripted videos. There's no script for this one. I'm just talking to a camera, but I still want to go into the TV station. I still want to use all the bells and whistles, you know, the green screen and the multiple cameras and the teleprompter, but I want shorter scripts. Why? People frequently won't watch something on YouTube if it goes into the double digits in terms of length. 9 minutes or less, they'll watch. 10 minutes or more, no. So I want to record videos and put videos up that are in the 5-minute range. That means fewer words than I'm used to doing. So for me, the challenge is not producing 500 words. That's nothing. For me, the challenge is saying something worth reading in 500 words. And that, I think, will provide enough challenge to keep me satisfied as long as I'm doing the work. All right, third resolution, and I put this in the title, so if you're still here, you're probably waiting for this one, ceremonial magic. I have practiced ceremonial magic in the past. Never consistently enough, I think, to get the sort of results that I want. And so now I want to get back into it, but not because I want cars and personal jets and a mansion and, you know, that sort of thing. My goals are all going to be related to productivity, creativity, making meaning in the world, and finding a place, finding an interaction, a relationship with the environment in which I live, which is harmonious, satisfactory, and one which is conducive to creative output. So that's what I have in mind, and I've used various sources in the past, and I have decided now that I am going to put into practice the things that I'm reading about in this book. It's called The Druid Magic Handbook, Ritual Magic Rooted in the Living Earth. It's by John Michael Greer. John Michael Greer writes a weekly blog called the Archdruid Report. He actually is the former head of a druidic order here in the United States. So the Archdruid is not it's not a made-up title. It's not, you know, he's not the self-styled Archdruid. He actually is a recognized Archdruid in an official organization of druids. And I have been interviewing him and reading his books and reading his blogs since about 2008. And I know that I agree with him and that the worldview that he articulates makes sense to me. So it just seems obvious that if I'm going to practice ritual magic, I should practice rituals given to me by somebody whose opinion I understand and trust outside the realm of ceremonial magic. And in terms of my resolution, and I haven't actually put it into practice yet because I'm still reading the book and I haven't gotten to this portion of it yet, but I want to do a daily banishing ritual. Now, what does that mean? I've done banishing rituals in the past. I have one that is familiar to me, which I could just take up again, but I really want to do something that is embedded in a coherent system of magic with somebody that I have access to, basically, that I can seek clarification from when necessary. So I'm going to be doing the banishing ritual that John Michael Greer will describe in this book. I'm not particularly interested in becoming a druid or joining a druidic order. Druidry is neat. I have nothing against it. I'm just not, it's the druid part of the title, and the druid aspect of this is not what drew me to it. So why a banishing ritual? I'm going to read something to you from John Michael Greer's blog. This is not his main blog, the Archdruid Report, but it's a different blog he does. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it's the Well of Galabades or something along those lines. But he wrote in the very first journal entry in that journal about a banishing ritual and the purpose of it. And the purpose of it is to get rid of some accumulated psychic junk, which in Shinto, a Japanese religion, is called kegare. And I'm going to read to you just something from John Michael Greer's blog on this topic. He writes, according to Shinto priests with whom I've discussed the matter, kegare is one of two kinds of impurity that can get in the way of harmonious interactions with the realm of the kami, the spiritual potencies revered in Shinto. Tsumi comes from wrong relationships with other people and the environment, and thus has an ethical dimension. Kegare, by contrast, has nothing to do with ethics. It's not a synonym for sin. It's simply a matter of coming into contact with substances and influences that cause an assortment of problematic reactions when brought into the immediate presence of the kami. Do you have kegare on you? If you haven't purified yourself, you can bet on it. Concepts very closely equivalent to kegare are found in traditional religious and spiritual systems around the world, and so are methods for getting rid of it. In the traditions of operative magic I'm discussing here, the standard method of getting yourself clean of kegare is the daily practice of a banishing ritual. This habit has come in for a certain amount of criticism of late in the neo-pagan scene, most of it from people who don't practice operative magic themselves and so have no particular reason to know what they're talking about. These critics claim, among other things, that performing banishing rituals is disrespectful, hierarchical, chases away friendly spirits, and implies that there's something wrong with a space that hasn't been banished. To be quite frank, this is nonsense. They might as well insist that washing your hands after you've used the toilet is wrong because it's disrespectful and hierarchical toward fecal bacteria, chases away microbes that would be perfectly happy to inhabit your mouth, and implies that there's something wrong with dysentery. Now, beyond that, John Michael Greer claims, and this is, I suppose, the advertising, the benefit, the claimed benefit for the banishing ritual practice is that in performing the banishing ritual, you will have to exercise imaginative faculties which will give you strengths and competencies in other areas outside of ritual magic. So I don't know any more to say on that topic right now. And let me say right now that I don't intend to present myself as an expert on ceremonial magic. I'm presenting myself to you as somebody who has a little bit of experience with it, who freely admits that I wasn't consistent enough with it in the past to get the sorts of results that some people say are possible with it, and that I'm just going to share with you my own experiences as I try to incorporate this practice into my life on a daily basis. And for those of you who are scientistically minded, notice I didn't say scientifically minded, scientistically minded, if you want to tell me how stupid, lame-brained, self-crippling, whatever all this mystical mumbo-jumbo is, save it. I don't care. I am perfectly capable of running with your pack. I can talk the materialist talk and walk the materialist walk all day long, and you'd never suspect that I entertained anything outside of your particular no-hassle zone. But I do. My life, my consciousness is fluid. It flows through cracks. It goes many places. And it will continue to do so, and no amount of ridicule or anger from you is going to change that. So spare yourself the aggravation and go someplace else on this marvelous thing that is YouTube and find somebody who is saying the sorts of things that make you feel good. Now, I do understand that hurling insults at people from your superior station of rigorous, intellectual integrity does feel good. I'm telling you, I'm not going to feed the trolls. You can post it. I won't respond. I don't care. Take it elsewhere. Okay, so that's it for the creativity, the things that are going to end up on YouTube. Well, sort of. But when it comes to New Year's resolutions, what are the typical things that people resolve to do? They usually involve diet and exercise, right? Well, same is true for me. I'll be brief here, but back in 2011, I weighed about 216 pounds. I wasn't working out. That was not muscle. And I discovered something called intermittent fasting. And I got on a program called the Fast 5, where you restrict all of your calorie consumption in a given day to a single 5-hour window, say from noon to 5. The author of the program suggests from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., but I like to eat during the day. So I got on that, and I did that daily. I did, I think, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And over the course of just a couple months, I went from 216 down to 195, where I plateaued. I stayed at 195 for a good long time. I wondered if that was it for the weight loss, if that's all I could expect from the Fast 5. But I stuck with it, and I integrated a little bit of exercise. A little bit. I was studying Tai Chi at the time, which is not, rigorous exercise. Tai Chi people, don't get angry. It can be rigorous exercise. The amount of it that I was doing was not rigorous exercise. But I added in some push-ups and some pull-ups and stuck with the Fast 5, and then my weight continued to go down. I got down to 185. So from, say, 215 down to 185. I lost 30 pounds in less than a year. Wasn't that hard, and I felt great. And I stayed at that weight for a good long time. But then I decided it was okay to drink outside of the eating window, and I gained a few pounds. Went up to about 195, where I was stable for a while. And then, like the person who takes antidepressants for a while, feels better, and then decides they're not depressed anymore, so they don't need the medication, and they go off the medication, and then the symptoms come back. And I'm not saying anything pro or con about antidepressant medication. I know a lot of people have strong feelings about that. I'm not getting into it. But it's the same thing with intermittent fasting. I got to a point where it seemed like, oh, my body understands, I'm now going to maintain this weight. I don't have to keep this rigorous eating schedule anymore. And so I abandon it. And what happened? I now weigh about 212 pounds. Now, some of that is quality weight because I have been going to the gym for about the last 8 or 10 months, 8 months really, regularly. And I'm going to keep that up. I'm also going to reintroduce yoga back into my practice. When I lived in New York City, I lived a block from a yoga studio where I did work study. I took 4 classes a week consistently. The whole time as I was getting off the Fast 5 and gaining weight again, I was also getting stronger and more flexible because I was doing yoga the whole time. But what that tells me is that exercise alone doesn't take off fat. So here I am at the beginning of the year, not the first of the year, but still the first week of the year. You can see what I got going on here, not so much chin. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to take his shirt off on YouTube, but and no offense to those who do. But honesty profile, this is what we're working with here. So I will stick to the fast 7. I'm not going to do a fast 5 anymore. I'm going to do a fast 7. I'm going to do noon to 7 p.m. at the hours when I will eat, and then I'll take the rest of the time off. And I will just show you what effect that has over the course of a few months. All right, so that's it for my New Year's resolutions. Daily writing, 500 words, daily banishing ritual, weekly YouTube upload, rain or shine, doesn't matter how basic it is, that I will still do the bells and whistles, green screen, multi-camera stuff at the TV station from time to time, but first and foremost, quantity over quality right now. And I'm going to do the fast 7, intermittent fasting, get back into yoga, and also, I'm saying it last, but really this is one of the most important things to me, I always wanted to be a cartoonist. I took lots of art classes in college. I used to do a comic strip in a university newspaper, which I then took to an online format, did it for years. I have these characters that I have developed, and I'm not using them much for anything right now, and I want to get them back into my life. I want to share them with you. I want to interact with them. I want to hear their voices in my head more regularly. I want you to hear their voices in your head regularly. And the only way to do that, I think, is to get them into these videos. So to that end, I've purchased Anime Studio Debut 10. And I'm working through the tutorial, and in some fashion, I'm going to get these characters into these videos and get them into your head. I hope that's something you want. If it is, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And if you would, if you've watched here all the way to the end, surely there was something of interest to you. Surely some value has been communicated to you through this video. So please click that like button. That helps me out. That helps YouTube understand that people find this material of value and they will show it to other people. So that is all for now. Those are my New Year's resolutions. If you want to tell me about your New Year's resolutions, of course, you can do that in the comments. You can send me an email. You can contact me via Twitter. Again, I'm going to be posting regularly to LiveJournal. So if you have abandoned your LiveJournal, or if you don't even know what I'm talking about, you might go and check it out. It is, of course, free. And to my mind, it is superior to Facebook in every regard, except for the fact that all the people are over on Facebook. But in some respects, even that is a benefit because I don't get caught up in a lot of chatter. I mean, if I go there to write, I write. All right, that is all. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you again in about a week's time. Bye-bye.